And after way too long of a hiatus away from recording, I am finally back once again with the Monarch's Tribunal. Joining me for the third time, you might know him as a gamer looks at 40, we have Bill Tucker.
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Thanks so much for having me. It's good to be back in the tribunal, which is a statement I don't think I would say
I
given any other circumstance, but yeah, thanks for having me, man.
almost forgot what your actual name was. I still think of you as a gamer looks at 40 in my head.
You know what? If I can be synonymous with anything, I'll take it. That works. That works for me. Oh man.
But yeah, today the plan is we're going to be talking Final Fantasy IX.
Final Fantasy 9.
Now, as is normal with Tribunal, I always try to find something to where we each have come at the game from a different way. I played this around the time it came out and kind of instantly loved it. And if I recall, you.
So the PlayStation era for me, when I had to make the choice, the heartbreaking choice to go Nintendo or Sony back in the N64 days, back in I guess that was 97 or so, I want to say. I made the choice to go Nintendo thinking surely they'll have RPGs, surely they'll have the things I like, and they did. Quest 64 and one other game counts. But Sony, of course, quickly Square Enix quickly jumped ship to Sony, and that was the end of that. And I was not in a family that could have a PlayStation and a Nintendo 64, so I was just strictly Team Nintendo all through that era, GameCube, all the way through. So I completely missed on the PS1 era of Final Fantasy games, including 7. I never played that as a kid. I had friends and we would play like the demo disc and I'd play the beginning part of it at friend's house, but 8 and 9 were games I never played until just a couple years ago for my own Final Fantasy series. So these are new experiences for me. And I got to say 9 is wonderful. It was a delight to play.
You see, it's nice on this show when I can actually just talk about something I like with someone else who also likes it.
Oh,
It really doesn't happen too often.
that's odd. I love Final Fantasy 9. I thought it was a delightful breath of fresh air. I thought it was a return to form after 8. 8 is a game I did not like very much. Again, also playing that for the Final Fantasy series on my show. So 9 was like, oh, this just feels good to me.
Now, I assume you played one of the more recent remasterings, either Steam or whatever other systems it's released on.
Yeah, I played the Steam version, whatever that is. I don't remember. I'm assuming it's the remastered Steam
Yeah.
version.
You're a little lucky because there was a problem if you played this game back on the PS1, and that is, like, the art direction is amazing. It really pushed what a PS1 could do graphically, so there was a lot of pixelization
Hmm.
that was hard to overlook. Like, again, I don't think it ever even looked bad at its worst.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, I played. Did they eventually come out with a proper remastered version of Final Fantasy 9? Because I'm looking at my library now, and I've just played. Mine doesn't say remastered on it; it just says Final Fantasy 9. So it might have been the zhuzhed up version, but not the fully remastered. Did they ever come out with a remastered for Final Fantasy 9? I don't know.
I think any version is technically the remaster past the PS1. It didn't do
Okay.
a whole lot. Like, it basically just cleared up a lot of the graphics so it looked a bit smoother, which was
Yeah.
very much appreciated. And it had
Yeah.
the other kind of cheat stuff added in, like they did with Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, I just checked, and it's just the standard Final Fantasy 9 version. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. They kind of cleaned up the sprites, but they left the a lot of the environments kind of muddy. So you had like these really clean, pretty sprites rolling through this muddy PS1 environment, but it doesn't matter. The art, like you said, the art direction is so sensational and lively and vibrant and varied. It was an absolute treat.
For me, when I first played it, it was basically immediately I was loving everything about the game. And again, like the first guy you really meet would be Zidane, our main character. What did you think when he first showed up?
I have a strong liking for the thief with a heart of gold kind of trope. when he first showed up visually, I was like, okay, he's okay. Again, coming from 8, on my journey, it was a bit of a culture shock for sure, but it was refreshing. It was refreshing to not have a sad boy, character who was bemoaning the fact he was in this game, and as a result, you now bemoan the fact you're playing the game. Sorry, I just don't like 8 very much. It's but not he had this sense of kind of adventure, this adventurous kind of daring do almost, where I kind of dug it from the beginning. I was a huge fan of Final Fantasy VI. Locke is one of my favorite characters from that game. Him and his little band of thieves were pretty great. So I was ready for it. I kind of felt like, all right, there's fun here, there's adventure, there's some whimsy here, and I think Zidane captures a lot of that whimsy, even just in his basic character design. There with his tail and just the way he's kind of drawn. He's a character you want to adventure with.
I'm with you, coming off both 7 and 8. Just the mopiness,
Yeah,
the dreary. I'm like, I'd rather be hanging out with this guy than any of the other protagonists.
totally.
This is something I didn't really think about till years later when I started just thinking a bit more deeply about why I did like certain things. I kind of realized one of the reasons I love Zidane so much more than the others is he's the kind of heroic good guy where it's a very believable level of heroism. You could see yourself being as good of a person as Zidane.
Hmm.
Where, like, say, someone like Cecil, who is such an idealized version of what a good guy can become.
Sure.
Zidane just felt real. Like, you watch him, you go, I could be that guy.
Is it Zidane or Zidane? I'm Final Fantasy names and pronunciations are like the wind. They just change for me. I just whatever my brain says to do.
I pronounced the birds Kokobos until I heard him pronounce Chocobo in Final Fantasy X.
Nice.
So I have no idea what Zidane is supposed to be pronounced as.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I agree with you. I think here there's a certain amount of relatability as well. He's just a guy with this group of ne'er-do-wells who are, traveling around performing these little schemes. And again, this kind of like motley crew is really fun. I'm always a fan of any media or movie. I mentioned this in my Armageddon episode on games my mom found a few weeks ago that was released, where I like anything where there's a crew and like a group of people doing things together for some reason is very appealing to me. I don't know why. So just to have this kind of like mercenary band going around doing these kind of like little schemes is very fun for me. And yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. Definitely seems relatable for absolutely. I can see myself as a little dude with a tail going around doing shenanigans. It's hard for me to see myself as a member of Seed.
I don't want to see myself as a member of Seed.
No, I don't want to be at the school doing school things. No, thank you.
Or playing the card game.
No, no, I don't like the card game either.
Yes, but I think I bitched about Final Fantasy VIII enough.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, we're good. No, we're good. We're good. We can totally, we can move on for sure.
Now that said, like, compared to any of the other games, how do you think the opening of 9 stacks up?
I like how everything begins with this idea of daring do, this idea of an adventure about to begin. I think 9 holds its cards pretty well, especially with Queen. Oh, what's her name? The Queen.
Braum?
Yeah, Queen Braum. I think was it Braum?
Braum or Barm?
Yeah.
It's something very similar to that.
Anyway, yes. And I think the way it kind of holds its cards to the intrigue is very good as well. It gets the group together in a very organic way. And even with when you finally get to meet Garnet and she becomes part of your party, everything happens very naturally, which is something I appreciated as opposed to other Final Fantasy games where it feels more written in.
I think one of the things I really like about that opening is how quickly you understand every character involved. In a very short period of time, you get a really good grasp of Zidane, all of his crewmates, Dagger, Vivi, even Puck, the weird
Yeah.
little rat kid. Like, very short period of time, you know who you're dealing with.
You learn about these characters while they're doing things. They're going on their adventure, and Final Fantasy IX is very good at their characters always doing things. Yet it also leaves time for them to slow down and take breaths and actually marinate as characters too. But for the most part, they're doing things, and you're learning about them through doing. Where other games are a little more static in the way they kind of almost says exposiate. That's not a word. Exposiate's not a word. Provide the exposition for the characters, their backgrounds, their motivations, etc.
I kind of like exposiate though.
Exposiate. I mean, you could go for you can make that a word. That can be an official word of the triumvirate or the tribunal, rather. Sorry.
But yeah, I think though one of my favorite bits is still the moment you realize she's basically trying to sneak on board as you're trying to kidnap her. I remember that the first time. I'm like, what?
I think it's really cool. And again, I totally dig the idea of the princess just saying, I just don't want to be in the castle anymore. I want to go on an adventure. Y'all seem cool. Let's go. Let's hang. It works with her personality. I love that cutscene when, you know, when you finally, the hood comes from her eyes and you kind of see her in all of her kind of glory. And she has such a mischievous look about her. Like, it's like, oh, you're fun. Like, this is all going to be a lot of fun. And it is. I mean, again, the game goes places, and we'll talk about obviously where the game goes, but it's always rooted in something fun, lively, and adventurous.
And not to mention Steiner.
I'm into Steiner. I like Steiner. Steiner's a good dude. I appreciate Steiner. I love his story. Poor
The only
Steiner.
thing I don't get why people refer to him as Rust Bucket when his armor is clearly not rusty, and he obviously takes care of himself. I mean, look at all the mascara he's wearing.
He's going through an emo phase. It's fine. You know, it's okay. The man's allowed to listen to his share of My Chemical Romance. I don't know how old the gentleman he is, but I have a real heart for the character that learns very, very slowly. He's slow to learn, and his constant betrayal, or the constant betrayal of his emotions, is really palpable and sad. I feel for him. He believes in the power of right and the power of the kingdom, and the queen will always do the right thing. And when she turns around and oh boy, doesn't, it's heartbreaking. And I get why he is who he is. He's a man of valor, and to watch that slowly get stripped away to the point where he ends up, siding, becoming entangled with a rogue of sorts is really touching. He has a great arc. I just like his arc a lot.
I think it's actually one of the best in the whole series of Final Fantasy. I love Steiner.
Yeah, Steiner's cool. I'm really into him. I when I was doing my episode, I realized some people were not as high on him, and I'm like, really? I get he's a bit of a stick in the mud, but you need someone to ground it too. Like you need that grounding character early on, or else it's just going to be complete mayhem.
I don't think Zidane would have worked as well if he didn't have someone like Steiner to bounce off of.
Yeah, you have to. And again, it provides good character moments for both characters. It provides good moments for Steiner, it provides good moments for Zidane, and it's good to have, he gets good to have Dad bouncing around. According to a wiki I'm looking at now, he's 33 in the game.
Yeah, the veteranly wizened warrior of 33.
Yeah. So, well, compared to everybody else, he's literally grandpa. So, I mean, yeah. No, he's cool.
I will say though, early game, it does do something that does slightly annoy me. A lot of Final Fantasies have done since 7. There's a lot of mini games.
Yeah, it does. It's mini game. It is pretty mini game heavy. That is for sure. I don't mind the one, and I'm trying to remember that mini games for some reason never stick out in my brain. I'll have to go through a little list and just see. I don't mind the play one when they're actually doing the jousting and they're doing I like that one. Yeah.
If it was just that,
right,
that'd be great. Because that was a lot of fun. I mean, it makes sense. You're a theater troupe. You're putting on the show. I enjoy that little bit. But then you have the jump rope.
Oh, jump rope isn't great. That's not good. I don't mind frog catching too much. I don't mind it too bad. It's okay. It's simple. It takes 2 seconds. I didn't mind that too much. Tetramaster, yeah, that's the I'm not a fan.
Here's the thing. If they took the randomness of Tetramaster and greatly restricted it, I think that game would have been fantastic.
People love it. I mean, people really like it. I'm
It's
just not
random
a
to the point the numbers almost don't matter.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point. It was one of those games where mini games where I played it and it didn't stick with me. And again, I'm playing this game also for a series, so I don't have a ton of time to linger and really get sticky with it. When it comes to mini games, it's got to catch me quick. We're not going to talk about 10, but I am a huge Blitzball fan. Like I really got into Blitzball and I played so much Blitzball in Final Fantasy X. So I'm not anti minigame, but I don't know. For some reason, Tetramaster didn't quite do it for me. Nor did the game in 8. I didn't like it either. I kept losing my good cards. And I'm like, well, this stinks. I'm never gonna get good.
I hate the 1 and 8 so much.
Yeah, not that's Triple Triad. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not talking about 8. We're talking about 9. We're talking about good things,
That's it.
fun things.
I will say 9. It does have my absolute favorite minigame in any FF game. Hot and Cold. The Chocobo one.
Oh, right. I didn't play a ton of Hot and Cold. I played a little bit. I was like, okay, this is neat, but I don't have a ton of experience.
It's so fun, especially when you like start to get those chocograss and you're actually finding treasures on the overworld map. Like all over the world you're digging up these treasures.
Yeah, it's a huge quest if I remember too. There's a lot of you can do a lot of stuff with Hot and Cold.
Yeah, there's like 3 different gardens you can do the actual game with like the timing and digging into the ground.
Yep. I can't remember if you have to do a little bit of it for the main story.
You never
don't,
even
right?
have to go to one of those forests.
Okay, I didn't think. I remember seeing it. I remember okay, this is neat and then just not really engaging with it. Again, I was probably closer to the end when that happened. So I was probably like, okay, let's gotta go.
You didn't
No
get
time.
till near the end.
I don't remember when I ran into it, to be honest with you. I don't remember.
The first time you do it is when you. It's right after you get to Lindblom and you're
Oh, wow.
on your way to Bermuda. You can go
Oh,
to
wow.
the first Chocobo Forest right there.
Okay, see, okay, yeah, I must have. I don't know what I did then. I don't recall exactly where I was in the. Wow, okay, so it's that early on. Okay, I might just again. I was playing 9 for a show, so to get it done. So
You'd never have to go to the Chocobo Forest, though. Like,
It's
you only
interesting-
find out
yeah.
because you're, like, looking through it through the telescope with Garnet and all
Right.
that. And it's one of the things mentioned during that bit. That's kind of your clue
Right.
that there might be something there.
Gotcha. Cool.
But yeah, that starts way near the beginning. It also
That
means
would've
you
been-
can get a
yeah.
Robe of Lords really early if you just
I was-
dedicate to playing that game.
I was gonna say you could probably get some really cool stuff. You could probably get some really neat stuff early on if you dedicate the time.
Vivi's best piece of armor in the game, right at the first Chocobo Forest. It would take
Beautiful.
so long to keep playing that much Hot and Cold, though.
That's super fair. Oh, that's really good.
But how do you feel about the actual combat for Final Fantasy IX?
You know, combat, it's simple. It's much more simplified than the games we shall not mention. I am not somebody who gets really wrapped up in mechanics when it comes to Final Fantasy. I like them simple. I like them streamlined. I know a lot of people who play RPGs really dig when they get really crunchy as far as character customization. I don't really need it. I just need the bare min, and I'm happy. So having just kind of the standard stuff. I don't even think there was more than like for armor. I think it was very simple as far as armor goes. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's just standard, active time battle stuff.
The biggest customization is being able to learn abilities off of the equipment you have.
Right.
And
Right.
equipping them in your menu based off. You have so many gems.
Yep.
I think that's what the
That's right.
resource
Yes.
is called.
Yeah, I like it. I don't mind it at all. I think it's actually pretty smart. It gives you a little bit of customization. The only thing I would say is not great is that I like to have the giant bucket of abilities, and having to pick and choose sometimes feels restrictive, but I never felt like I was missing out on anything I desperately needed. I never felt like I never felt punished for having the wrong build. It was more just what I felt I needed for the situation at hand.
Yeah, especially since you can always just unequip something. Like, oh, that ability's not doing me any good. Let's like allocate that to something else.
Exactly. Like the one thing I didn't love is the trance system. I don't love the fact that you can't select when it happens. That was always my. If correct me if I'm wrong, because I think when your trance meter gets filled up, your next action has to be trance.
Yeah, you automatically enter trance.
You automatically trance, and I don't like. I'd rather. I'm a hoarder when it comes to things like that. So for me, I want to save that for the big bad at the end, put everyone. But then it would unbalance the game. So I see what they were trying to do, and and also thematically, I think it makes a lot of good sense. But as far as a mechanic, I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
I think you either need to let the player store them, or for a lot of the characters, don't make it take so long to actually activate a trance.
Right, and there's not really a ton of, if I remember correctly, there wasn't a ton of unique abilities with it. I know Zidane has some, but I don't think anybody else really had any fancy. Like I think for maybe Vivi, you get like you can do 2 spells instead of 1 or something. You know, just
Yeah, Vivi and Garnet would double cast.
okay.
Oh wait, no,
right.
not Garnet. Ico. Those
Okay.
two would double cast. Garnet got an extended summon animation, which made the summon stronger. All simple. Steiner doubles his. He just straight doubles his damage on his basic attacks.
Gotcha.
The actual fun and interesting one was Amarant, actually. All of
Oh,
his
really? Okay.
Every one of his auras is single target, but once he switches into trance, all of them become group target. So it's either all enemies or all allies.
Oh boy. Okay. Interesting. All right. That's at least that's something a little spicy, but there was really nothing other than that. It was just kind of like enhancing ability. So trance is something I didn't really look forward to having since it was so random.
As much as I love the visual change to the characters, they all look awesome.
Yeah.
It's not really something that added much to the game. Like, it
Right.
being there didn't take anything away.
Optional flavor.
That said, I found it kind of funny because how I always start going into any kind of RPG at this point is I hate dealing with status effects. So I realized all of my characters, I immediately gave all of them the resisting status effect bumps.
Status effects. Yeah. I don't remember them being that horrible. They were there and present. I never felt overpowered by them though.
Let me ask you, did you beat Final Fantasy IX?
I did. I did.
Okay.
I did complete Final Fantasy IX. Yes.
Okay, so I will say this because I remember before I fought the final boss the first time, I'd read somewhere they were saying this guy's got this attack, Grand Cross, it's a nightmare. I'm like, alright, I'm not gonna look up what it does. I'll just go in, see what happens. He hits me with Grand Cross. I'm like, this didn't do anything. What's happening here? After I beat him, I actually looked up why are people so terrified of Grand Cross? Do you know what the effect of that ability is?
I don't remember off the top of my head, so
It
enlighten
drops 3 random status effects on all of your characters.
me. Not good. Not good.
Guess who is immune to everything going into that fight?
This person over here, the guy I'm talking to, you were my friend. Dang, that's
I could
wild.
see if you don't go in ready for that, it could mess you up because Final Fantasy IX has freeze, which if you get hit while frozen, you're dead.
Right.
Burn, which if you take an action while that effect's up, it kills you. It can drop death or stone on you. There's 4 different things that can basically just go, you're dead.
Yep. That's horrifying. What a terrible thing.
I had no idea it even had an effect.
Oh, that's crazy. That's really interesting.
But yes, early game Final Fantasy IX rather than just skipping right to the end here. I was shocked at how just intense the first real dungeon of that game was with the Evil Forest.
Yeah.
I like it immediately sets up the weird dichotomy of Final Fantasy IX though, because yes, it is very adventurous, fun, colorful compared to a lot of the games previously. Now we're at this forest, it's petrifying everybody, and your best friend's already sacrificed himself to get you out of there alive. It's a really dark opening.
It really is. It's all fun and games until until things kind of hit the fan, and then oh boy, it is definitely tricky for sure.
I think that's immediately one of the things I loved about the game so much is I think really heavy moments like that hit a lot harder when it's not something you're just expecting to happen.
Yeah, and it's also set up with good character work, and I think that's why I think a lot of those moments really hit. We'll talk about probably some bigger moments as we move forward, but it's all set up through the characters and the cast. And in Final Fantasy, one of the benchmarks of it have is always the characters. So I think that's what makes it successful.
I think it's even that much longer until the next moment of what did I just witness happen once you get to the Dolly, I think is the name of that town. The one where you find out about the black mages getting created. I think it was Dolly.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I think you are right. Actually, yes, it is. When you start learning the that it might be like a top 5 moment in all of Final Fantasy. When you realize the backstory of the black mages and how all that hits, it's again, but it's all supported by excellent character work. And now you have Vivi, who is just having this literal existential quandary of who am I? Why was I created? For what purpose am I here? All of that. It's so touching and heartbreaking. It's really really sensational. It's so beautiful.
The little guy just wanted to go see a play. That was all.
All he wanted to go see a play, having fun. Woo.
And then life happens.
Then life, then life happens.
I think that's actually the moment I realized it was just going to be one of my favorite games. Is
Yeah.
once you're on that first airship and the Black Waltz 3 descends.
Ooh. Oh yeah, so good. It's there. I think for me, it made sense. I'm trying to step through like the beginning parts of it. It made once I met Vivi and I started interacting with Vivi, I was like, okay, because you can't be around the world of Final Fantasy without knowing people love 9. Like that's people love 9. We know this. But when I started really interacting and learning all those backstories, I went, okay, now I get it. I totally see what you're doing here, and I see why people love this so much.
I don't know why I just remembered this. Back when like they were doing the PS1 releases on PS3 years ago, they made a big announcement. Final Fantasy VII is going to release on the PS1 storefront thing. I don't remember what they called it.
Yeah.
Eventually, 8 was released. But they didn't like make an announcement. It just came out, and then they announced 9. Someone actually asked one of the Square Enix reps, like, okay, we get why it announced 9, and someone's like, but why wasn't there an announcement for 8? And he just responded, I like 9.
Oh boy. That's really good. That's really good. I that's
I loved it.
that's a really good one. I like that. That's very very funny. I played that's how I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time. I played it on the PS3 as a downloadable title. So I played like Final Fantasy VII on my PS3. I forget what they call it, that Legacy Collection. Just for some whatever it was, the store they had on the PS3. Yeah,
I think it was just PS1 on PS3.
I think you might be right. Actually, I think I'm thinking too hard about this. I think it was just PS1 on PS3. Yes, distinctly remember the little bubble that came up, and I was like, hey, I get to play this now.
Yeah, I will say though, in terms of just the actual gameplay at this point, there is something you might have noticed, like the very early stretches of Final Fantasy IX, is it seems to take a while to actually take your actions when you only have like 1 or 2 party members.
Mm.
So there's a lot of kind of sitting there waiting for something to happen in the battle screens.
Yep. I do remember that. I remember that. But again, for me being an old school, retro gamer, that's fine. I don't mind waiting for my little bar to fill up. That's kind of the way it works sometimes. Yeah.
It's more when you're also fighting one enemy, they're also kind of just sitting there doing nothing.
It's a lot of just kind of whistling along.
It gets better as you actually have a full party. Things kind of keep happening, turns keep happening. It's nowhere near slow feeling by like a third of the way into the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say like by a third of the way in, you're totally used to it. But you're right, in that beginning part, just kind of a little sitting there watching idle animations, just like, okay, here we go.
Then there's the realization of the abysmal rate of your steal ability.
Yeah, to the point where it's not great. Is that a known thing where it's never that great?
Oh, it's never good.
Okay. Yikes.
The thing is,
okay.
there's some weapons with certain abilities you can really only get by stealing them from bosses.
And again, I'm an old school gamer person, so if I have somebody who can steal, I am always stealing from a boss. I'm always stealing. I'm always stealing. That's a part of my turn. And I remember distinctly a couple of bosses be like, does this boss have anything? Maybe but it gives a different message when it doesn't have anything. So I can burn in turns here.
And and don't forget, bosses generally have multiple items you can steal,
That's
up
right.
to three.
You're right. So yeah, you have basically you're losing out on a single character for almost the entire engagement. Yeah, not great.
I think the worst one that everyone seems to have the horror story about is Hilgigus. It comes later when you're in around when Aiko joins up, but
Right,
you can
right,
still
right,
one
right.
of her weapons from this thing. I have never stolen that weapon in under 20 minutes.
And you just sit there and you just sit there and yeah, I've heard of this. I didn't. I think at that point I was sick of the stealing. And I was just like, all right, forget this. I'm just if I miss something, I miss something.
Okay, I played it on an
Yes.
emulator one time where I could speed
Ooh,
things up.
nice.
It still took me 30 minutes.
That's insane. That's too.
It's like, what? What is wrong with steel in this game?
That is the curse of knowledge, my friend. Like if you didn't know you had that ability or that character had a thing, you would have just given up and been like, all right, whatever. But you knew the special shiny was there on the other end of the randomness.
I hate the steel mechanic in 9 because of that.
Ain't great.
I still love the game.
Of course. Hey,
But,
nothing is perfect. Few things are perfect, right? In this world. So, hey, our favorite things can have warts. It's not a big deal.
yeah. But yeah, I do also like all the characters really do feel like their own unique class, effectively.
I love it. I think going back to and again, this is interesting because I was never a big fan of the job system in games. Jobs for me were always weird because I never knew if I was doing the right thing. And if a game is unbalanced and it has jobs, you can really soft lock yourself in a lot of these games if you haven't done the right thing. And I always thought, why would I sacrifice my good build of this thing for to try something new? I like when Final Fantasy still has those jobs, but ingrained in the character. And I think Final Fantasy did itself a big service when it made that move. Now, again, there's some games that do it well and do job systems very well, and you can quickly level a job if you need to. That's all fine and good. But I agree with you. I like the fact that Steiner is a knight, Zidane is a thief. Yeah, you're black mage, you're white mage, you're blue mage, et cetera, et cetera. So I like the fact that there are very identifiable classes and jobs that harken back to the original jobs. But yeah, I love the fact it's a dragoon. That's great. That feels good to me, and the fact that they were able to tie those different character types and those job types and integrate them into the characters felt really good.
It does also highlight something interesting about Final Fantasy as a whole, though, and that has been their inability to balance a blue mage. Blue mage has so often just been this awful, awful class. Which it's a shame because I love the idea.
I love blue mages in theory, but I never use them well, and that's just a failing in me. Again, I love the theory, but Quina, again, you're right because Quina is sorry, it or she he. I think that's I think she he is can be extremely powerful, like completely overpowered if you build out Quina properly, like any blue mage. But there's a lot of time tax involved with that.
Well, here's the thing, like, because I think 5 was the first one that had blue mage. Maybe 3. It could have been 3. I didn't play much of 3, didn't like it. But blue mage in 5 was terrible because you're like, anything this class is trying to do, I can do better with just a black mage or white mage.
Right.
The same thing kind of holds true with 6. As much as I like Strago and his lore magic, it doesn't do anything I can't already just do by teaching him magic from the Espers anyway.
Plus, I mean, Gao is kind of sorta blue magey, but even still, you're right. You get Strago way too late, so you don't really get a lot of time with Strago. I agree. Yeah, again, the blue mage is. Was there a blue mage in FF3? I can't remember.
Point in case though, like it's been a pretty horrible casting class, and then
Yeah.
you get Queen who's just like, I'm better than all of you.
Yeah, just completely dominates if you build out that character properly. It's remarkable.
You almost don't even need to build properly. Here's all you need on Queen, and it is Mighty Guard, Auto Life, White Wind.
Yeah, that's it.
Because
That's really it. White
apparently
Wind.
in this game, compared to previous Final Fantasies, just a group Shell and whatever the physical version of Shell is that does physical on your whole party instantly.
Yep.
That's really good. They
It's
finally
super great.
made that spell good
Yes, they finally
by
did.
breaking it.
By literally breaking it and making it almost undefeatable. Yeah, no, it's great, and you can really break the game with Queen if you really want to.
Queen has 2 attacks that can guarantee max damage.
Yeah,
2.
yeah. One was not enough. You need 2.
I completely found out what Limit Gauntlet did by mistake.
Okay.
Because I never used Quina the first time I played the game.
Okay.
So Quina was horribly underleveled, no abilities except for a couple random things I happened to eat.
Right.
And you go into that fight where you have to use Zidane and Quina. I was getting wrecked. I'm like, okay, my Quina can't do anything. He had auto life on. He happens to raise himself to 1 hit point. I'm like, alright, what is she gonna do now? I look at her spell list, like, then I see for the first time Limit Gauntlet selectable.
Ah.
Like, huh. I can use that now? Let's see what happens. Max damage, I win the fight.
Yeah.
Like, alrighty.
Great.
That's the game you were playing with me this whole time.
I see what you're trying to do there, game. I get you now.
That's when I put some time into actually figuring out what Queen could do, and I was like, oh, this was the most broken character the entire time. Of course it was Queen.
Of course
Blue
it was
Mage.
Queen. Of course it was the Blue Mage.
I know some people hate Queen.
Really? You know what? Here's my take with Queena. I was always happy they were there. I was always like, you know what? I'm glad you're here. Queena doesn't have much to do story wise, but they're just there, and I'm happy they're there and extremely powerful.
I love every so often when something is horrible is going wrong, and you have like early on if you picked up Queen on your way to Bermuda and then Clara, all the stuff with the trees happening, and you're just like, why am I here dealing with this? I'm just gonna leave now. Yeah, why is Queen even here to begin with?
Why are you here, Queena? Let's get down. Let's just get down to brass tacks. That's a valid question you raise. Queena's just along for the ride, and everyone's just pleased to have him around. So they're just like, you know what? Queen is here. Cool.
Did you ever do like all the Zodiac coin stuff and then go meet?
No. Sorry. I cut you off really fast there. I was like, no.
Well, because one of them you have to go to Quan? No, not Quan. Quan's the frog that sends Queen with you. Whichever was the one that raised Vivi.
Oh,
But
I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah.
But you go back to that cave where a couple of those coins are, and you get to meet the spirit, and you get the weird interactions with Vivi and Queena.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, it makes a weird amount of sense. Someone just like Queena is who raised Vivi.
It makes all the bizarre sense in the world. It just works somehow, some way.
I really wish those two had more time together.
Oh yeah, I could totally use more of them together for sure. They were a lot of fun together.
They only really had that bit if you go to the cave with both of them and the weird marriage scene at Conde PD. I guess they're married now.
I guess you're married now. Great. Cool. Excellent. That just occurred.
I think that entire setup in that game was put there just as an excuse to do that with those two characters.
You might be right. I wouldn't put it past the designers for sure. You might be correct on that.
Sakaguchi has some weird moments in the games he designs sometimes.
This is very true. He definitely can be a little strange, but we love him for it. We love him for his strange, quirky ways.
Yeah, one thing I think we should probably touch on is one thing I do know a lot of people will criticize the game for is there are a couple characters that narratively kind of feel like they got the shaft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a funny feeling we're gonna agree on this one, but go ahead. Yeah.
Specifically, Freya and Amarant.
Yeah, Freya, especially Freya. when Freya shows up, I remember thinking, okay, I'm really into this character. The design is cool. With a cool backstory. There's that she has this longing for. Oh, what was the name of the person she was
Fratley.
longing? Fratley, thank you. You know, all that stuff. Like this is gonna be great, and then it just ends. Like her storyline just ends, and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's so disappointing.
I'll say I
To
don't think hers is as bad as some people will make it out to be. I do wish that a little more happened in relation to Fratley.
it needed. I don't know. It just needed a narrative hook at the end, and I for some reason you just don't quite get it, and that's a shame. Amaranth also, like you said, is another one where you just don't get much.
I
You just
love
don't get much.
Amaranth. I like the
Yeah.
design. He's
Yep.
great. He's one of my favorite characters to use. He is weirdly one of the best support characters you get. Because if you pair like him with Vivi using his aura, you basically have Vivi just never run out of magic.
Which is so good. Which is so good and underrated. The problem with Amaranth is that again, it's missed opportunity. Now again, in a game like Final Fantasy IX, you can't give everybody equal time. It's very hard to do so. And again, the design is fantastic. His arc is really interesting and cool. But yeah, it's just unfortunately you just kind of miss out. You miss out on it a lot.
Now with Freya, I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out with her. If only because
Okay.
like I think they kind of overhype the importance of Fratley to her arc, which I think the game itself does that too, but for her it was more she abandoned her duties to go and find Fratley. Then she comes back, you get all that, but her conclusion to the story doesn't really involve Fratley for her arc.
Right.
It's when basically you're running out of Alexandria Castle. You're trying to escape to the second continent. And even though this isn't her kingdom, these aren't her people she's protecting, she's the one that stops and goes, I'm going to stand back here and fight off these Bandersnatches that got released on us so that Garnet can escape. To a degree, that was
Right.
kind of the moment her arc had its full circle.
Yeah.
It fed into the kind of last straw for Steiner where he had that revelation of she is not even from this kingdom. I'm here running away with everybody. She is doing the job I should be doing right now.
Yeah. She you need those supporting characters to flesh out your mains. I mean, you do, and I think when you tie it into the Steiner story, you're right. It definitely feels more complete. But in a game that's full of big emotions and big moments and big character beats, you kind of hope you want everybody to have that big moment, and not everybody has to have that. So I think you make a good point.
I got nothing like that for Amaranth. You could have cut him from the game and missed
Yeah.
nothing,
Nope.
and that
Yeah.
hurts me.
Yeah.
Again, I love the guy.
Yeah. He's really good. You could absolutely cut him from the game and not miss a beat at all.
Now, at this point of the game, generally, every Final Fantasy has various themes it's working with. What did you kind of take away as the themes of what Final Fantasy IX was?
The themes of Final Fantasy IX really center around for me this idea of old world and new world, if that makes sense. Old guards, old regimes, and learning what it is to be your own kind of person. I think is a big overriding theme. I think all the characters go through an arc where they are really learning to be their best selves, and not even maybe their best selves, but new selves. And I think there's a lot of this kind of overarching theme of rebuilding in the wake of all of these, and it being formed by the events that form you, if that makes sense. So I think that's one of the bigger themes for me. What about you?
Very similar. How I remember putting it a while back, last time I talked FF9, is every character in this game is kind of forced to confront an aspect of themselves and reevaluate how it is they view the world around them. You have the obvious one with Steiner being, well, his allegiances, his fealty, having to kind of look at himself and really decide what was important to him this whole time. Zidane had a very... Well, I'll get to Zidane in a minute once we start talking about the villain, just so I don't completely retread what I'm about to say. You have Dagger and just her complete naivety to the world around her. Vivi's story is kind of so known by now. I don't know if we need to get too much
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, the most story in Final Fantasy, yeah.
Yeah. Even Amarant, when he's kind of forced to reconsider how he works, always being working alone. I will say I like when you do kind of get that scene at the weird castle place whose name I can't remember, where Amaranth breaks off from the party. You kind of understand why he viewed that working alone as such a huge benefit because he does beat you to the end of the castle. He won the wager.
Yeah.
You see why he thinks the way he does, but on the way out of the castle, it's like, oh, I slipped up. I'm about to die until Zidane goes back for him.
Is that Ibsen's castle?
Ibsen's, yes.
Yeah.
That weird place that you can skip to early and skip a third of a disc.
Can you really?
Yeah, if you get the gold chocobo early doing all the hot and cold stuff, you can get the
see.
gold chocobo before the airship. And if you get
That's
to
wild.
Ibsen Castle, it triggers like the story flag, so you just end up there in the story and your airship's just outside.
That's insane. That's
Imagine
crazy.
whoever got that, because you know this had to have happened. Someone got that not knowing what was going on the first time they played the game.
Totally.
And they're like,
Totally.
what's going on in the story? What happened
What is
here?"
happening? Where am I? That's so funny. I love that.
That had to have happened to somebody.
Yep. I want to talk to that person.
But yeah, you can skip a good third of a disc doing that. But yeah, every character in the game goes through that kind of arc where they just have to confront part of who they were before and go, something has to change now.
Which makes it very realistic and very relatable because I think everyone has to do that at some point. We all have these realization moments where we have to kind of assess and reevaluate who we are and what we're all about. And I think the fact that the characters, like you very well said, by and large have to all do this, go through this process, makes it really easy to relate to.
Which I think would bring us a good point to bring us to the final character dimension, our villain, Kuja.
Ah, yes. Good old Kuja.
I think I like him more than Kefka.
Sorry, I was muted. I gasped. I audibly gasped. I don't think I can rate Kuja a what. So explain. I need an explanation immediately, sir, on the tribunal.
So firstly, just the actual visuals. Like, some people make fun of him, like, oh, he looks so effeminate. He looks so vicious and cruel.
Yeah, no, visually he's awesome. There's no problem.
Like, I don't know if I sent you that picture, but I've also dressed up as Kuja one year.
You did send me that picture. Yes, you did.
Both him and Kefka I've done.
That's very cool.
The game at one point tries to do something that a lot of games and stories do that frustrate me because I don't believe it for a second. And that's where, like, your villain and hero have that moment of, I could have turned out to be you. In the case of Zidane and Kuja, I actually really believe that could have been the case.
Totally. As a counterpart to Zidane, I think it works really well. And while the risk you run when you write a character like that is it gets very writery or you get too theme heavy, Kuja's main motivations are very pure. And especially towards the end, if we're going to talk about the ending, we'll talk about the ending as when we get there. But when you get to that ending, everything he does makes sense given the lens he views the world through. And I think that's really powerful and strong. And he's just a cool character. I think Kuja's a great villain. Kefka is a different level, but you could make a sound argument.
Because weirdly enough, they both him and Zidane have the exact same character flaw, and they're both very narrow-sighted in what's going on around them. Like, neither one of them really look past themselves at the bigger picture. Like, yes, Zidane's a very good-hearted and good-natured guy, but he's really only helping what he sees in front of him.
Yeah, he's never more than one step ahead, and that's part of his growth as well, is realizing there's more to things. And Kuja, you're exactly right, is this pure narcissist, for lack of a better term, where he's just completely focused inward, and again can't see 2 feet in front of his own face. And being short-sighted and insanely powerful is a very bad sauce. That's not a good combination.
I also kind of really like how with Kuja, I don't even know if it's necessarily like a specific world view you'd have to look through to understand why he acts like he does. at least why his end plans.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, he's doing all of this because he knows his life is going to be cut short. There is a finite time he has on this world, and he just doesn't want that to happen. Like
There there is a survival instinct there for sure.
it's another thing I've seen some people complain about with like FF9 is they were like, "Oh, Kujo was a great villain at first, like he's smart, calculated, cunning, but then he basically throws a tantrum by game's end." I'm like, that's why he's terrifying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially-
Powerful people throwing tantrums is never a good thing. Just ask Kefka. It's, but towards the end, when he really is like in this survival mode, it's the thing I love when video game villains do. Well, actually, really any villain, but really video game villains in particular, is when they make bad decisions that seem totally realistic to the world that they're living in. Again, through the lenses that they see the world through.
Because like I still remember just one of my favorite moments in the game is like when you're towards the end, you finally beat Garland, then Kuja like comes back, he's achieved trance and all that, and you're like, he seems at that moment like nothing could get him down. Like there's nothing anyone could do to knock him off his pedestal. And then Garland drops the truth on him.
The big old truth bomb.
All this power doesn't matter. No matter how much you struggle, no matter how much you achieve, your end is the same. And that's when Kuja just snaps. You're like,
yeah, and how could you not, right? Like, given everything he's been trying to achieve, his entire experience, to have that truth bomb dropped on him is A, very cruel, and B, how do you expect him to react? That's kind of my question for those who don't like the way he turns out. It's like, well, what did you want him to do? Say, oh, okay. Let me go talk to my therapist about this now. Let me see if I can get an earlier session than next week, next Tuesday. Like, no, that's not going to happen. He's going to now try to affect change. It's this idea of, children have this issue where they're always looking for agency. Like kids are always looking for agency. And Kuja, to a certain extent, is still that kid where he's just looking to control things. He just wants the agency. And regardless of what it means, because he can't see 2 feet in front of his own face, it is a tantrum. So I can kind of see where people would say that, but it's perfectly justified given it's not justified. It's understandable he would have that given his background and his upbringing and where he is when he gets that truth bomb hit.
I just thought it was crazy that a game that did so much to make me hate this guy so much, in that moment, I'm like, I kind of felt bad for him.
It's hard not to. It's really hard not to. And that's sensational writing. That's good writing when you can do that.
I was even on board with Zidane jumping back into those pits to try to save him at the end.
Sure. Again, you can fault somebody for their actions, but their motivations are a different story, right? And people deserve consequences for their actions, but they also are people at the end of the day and need to be understood as much as possible.
Oh, and by the way, Necron's the final boss of this game.
Oh, yeah.
Let's drop that in here, Adam.
Yeah. Necron. Oh, yeah. They do the classic, hey, it wasn't this guy the whole time. It's this guy.
Well, that's not really what happened, because it was Kuja and Garland the whole time.
Yes.
Something we haven't really talked too much about is a lot of the stuff in Final Fantasy IX was a throwback to all the other games Sakaguchi worked on.
For sure.
I think he wanted to do something like with Zeramus from 4, which, honestly, even that one I was kind of eh.
Yeah.
But I think it made more sense there because at least thematically it worked.
It's fine. And again, I understand you kind of need the idea of having this cosmic big bad, this cosmic power behind it all, so to speak. It's okay. And it's a bit of a trope that I've kind of come to accept. And so I don't think it bothers me as much as it may bother others.
I know with 4, when they tried to do it that way, it was kind of, they wanted the perfect counterbalance to Cecil's redemption, his righteousness. They wanted just the pure hate on the other side, Cecil chased off. I don't think they needed to do this weird Zemus is actually Zeramus now after abandoning his form. I think that was handled much better with 6, where Kefka just fit perfectly as this absolute crushing despair versus the hope of the party. I think that was done perfectly there.
Yep.
I think they could have just not done Zermus.
Yeah, I agree. I don't
Or
think
not
you needed it.
Zermus.
A Necron, yeah. A Necron. Yeah, I agree. I don't think you needed it, and I understand also from a gameplay perspective, you may just want a big bulky thing to whittle hit points away on. It doesn't do much for me as far as a story goes. I honestly don't remember a lot of the whole why Necron is a thing, to be perfectly honest. At that point, I was kind of like hurtling towards the end.
It's because he's not really a thing until that moment.
Right. Okay. So there you go. So then there's no. Okay. So I'm not missing much of anything.
The best theory I've ever heard someone come up with is you hear talk about, like, even though you destroy the Ifa tree, that there's
Right.
kind of the other spiritual side of that, and that was
Oh.
Necron.
Okay. Okay.
I still don't know why he shows up to try to murder you at the end.
I don't know why. I don't know why I picked the side. I don't know why the force picked the side, but I guess it did. So all right.
You really could have just had your fight with Kuja. Just give Kuja Grand Cross to ruin everybody's day.
Perfect. Exactly. That's all you really needed. Was exactly. Just get one. Just need one thing.
Since he's not really important to the story at all, I'm not gonna hold that too much against Final Fantasy IX.
No, and again, the design is cool. Necron looks really cool.
Oh, he looked great.
Looks awesome as a big bad, as a final big bad to again whittle hit points away on and get wrecked by. It's a little tough. It's a little tough narratively. It doesn't quite work.
I will say though, I am happy after the PlayStation era of RPGs in general. Final Fantasy IX seemed to be the end of just cramming in as many minigames as humanly possible.
Yeah, well, 10 has its fair share. I mean, 10 has its fair share of lightning jumping, but again, we're talking very, very light and chocobo racing and blitzball. 10 had its fair share of side diversions to do, but nothing that was, I mean, getting the celestial weapons in 10 is, some of those are just obscene. Like, and not fun at all. But yeah, it didn't seem as dependent on it.
Yeah, I don't know if you've gone back to play a bunch of those PlayStation 1 era RPGs. Final Fantasy VII was a freaking plague with it introducing minigames. That is the worst trend that game has ever started, was the obsessive minigames.
The obsessive minigames? But you don't like the slap fight in Final Fantasy VII? You don't enjoy that? That wasn't fun for you? Okay.
It's kind of funny as a moment, but the actual getting the key before that.
Yes,
or the snowboarding.
Yes. Snowboarding's not. You know what? If I want to play a snowboarding game, I just play a snowboarding game. I'd play 1080 on my and be just fine if I wanted to do some snowboarding. I know. I totally yes.
I think CPR was the worst.
CPR's rough.
It's like, why? I've failed this like 8 times. Shouldn't this kid just be dead by now? Can we just leave the kid dead and advance the story? She's not important.
No, you can't kill children and you can't kill kids in your Sony PlayStation benchmark title. You can't do that. Can, but agreed.
But yes, any other thoughts on 9?
The music is sensational. Well, we haven't talked about the music yet, and that's a theme I never got around to really doing a lot of music for my show. I was planning on doing a series just on Final Fantasy music because it deserves at least a couple episodes to discuss. But the tricky part about talking about music is that you really can't play it, even though I did shamelessly throughout my entire series because I don't. the robots don't make me any money, and it's fine. So I was just like, devil may care when it comes to music. But
some songs are really hard to talk about without being able to play them.
Yeah. But the music is sensational in the game. I think it's great. The ending, of course, is wonderful. It's one of my favorite endings in any Final Fantasy. It ties everything up beautifully between Zidane and Garnet.
The funny thing is, I don't think Melodies of Life. Like, I love the song.
Yeah.
I don't think it works as a send-off or tying up of Garnet and Zidane because the lyrics are literally about someone, like, reminiscing on a past relationship. That's literally...
Yeah, that's fair. I think melodically, I think it does, but maybe not from the lyrics. Okay, that's fair. That's very interesting.
That said, one of the theories I have heard about it is because this is the last Final Fantasy Sakaguchi was hugely involved in. He was around for 10. He was involved. Yep. He was there for 12 too. He also wasn't as involved in 7 and 8.
Right.
So, in a lot of ways, 9 itself was kind of supposed to be like his send off to a lot of that old style, all the work he did. It's a little bit why I think some people think when they hear the old, or try to think of what that old Final Fantasy feel is, it's a lot more that old Sakaguchi feel than Final Fantasy. If you look at Melodies of Life like that, it makes a lot more sense. It's a fond send off to all the wonderful things that were. As sad as it may be coming to an end, you can still have all those wonderful memories.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful song, and it fits the moment well. I just think it's interesting that the lyrics, yeah, you're right, the lyrics probably don't line up quite exactly with the spirit of it. But again, like you said it very well. It's a bit of a swan song for Sakaguchi as well, for this series that he helped birth, and grow. So it's a great ending, and I just, again, all the feels. Not sure if I had allergies at the moment, but a tear or two probably came to face. I don't know. I cannot confirm, but it was a beautiful moment. What a splendid way to end the game, for sure.
I tie that with Dancing Mad for like my second favorite song in all Final Fantasy.
You can absolutely make that argument. It's top 5, no question.
Said my favorite one actually does still come from 9, and it depends on which title translation you use for it. It's either Loss of Me or Rose of May. You may remember it playing. It was just the piano melody for Beatrix's theme.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, sure. We didn't really talk about Beatrix. So cool. I love Beatrix. And her and Steiner, just match made in heaven. Come on now.
Normally, though, I like my music like a bit more complex, but just, I don't know, that simple melody.
There's
just
something
the piano.
So evocative about a simple melody. I think hits in a special place. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a beautiful melody.
I really love Uematsu's music.
I mean, yeah, call me. That's not a hot take, my friend. No. That is not a scalding take. No, he is a genius he's an unparalleled genius. He is a master. Final Fantasy was lucky to have him.
He's like a mono. He never really goes away.
Yeah. Exactly.
You'll see him there working on some small project with some other team every so often.
Yep. Every once in a while, they trot him out. Yep, every once in a while. For sure. Very good.
I am shocked we didn't really talk about Beatrix, but it kind of just ties right back into Steiner.
It just ties back into Steiner. Yeah, no, you're 1,000% right. She's super cool, fascinating character, and when she gets on the right side,
4 different times.
Yep, beats you down, and you're like, that's fine. You're good. I'm cool with that. You're just very awesome.
I'm a little disappointed I never got the chance to actually beat her, but
I'm okay. You know what? It's once you join my team, I'm good. Like, all bets, you're good. I'm fine. Magus and Chrono Trigger, same thing.
Well, you beat him first.
You do beat him first. Yeah, you do beat him first, but that's all right. That's it. Everything is good now. I can use dark matter. We're good. That's all that matters. We're fine.
Oh, one last note. Did you ever hear about the Excalibur 2 in that game?
I did not.
The absolute stupidest weapon to ever try to get. You remember, when you get to the very end of the game, there's this weird note left by some explorer in Memoria about some weapon that used to be there that disappeared at some point.
I think so, yeah.
If you make it there in under 12 hours, you get the Excalibur 2.
No, come on now.
Under 12 hours.
Stop it now.
No, it's real.
This is the part of the tribunal where you're now just going to mess with me, and that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
It might not be 12, but either way, the actual number is so stupid.
That's silly.
The strategies people have found to get there. One of them, because you can't skip any of the cutscenes in Final Fantasy IX.
Correct.
Unless you're playing on a PlayStation, open it and reclose it, and it just skips the cutscene.
Oh, wow.
You can just open the disc and close it and skip every cutscene doing that. That shaves hours off your playtime.
That really does. That's crazy. Yeah, it's 12 hours. I just looked it up. 12 hours.
It is 12.
Boy, oh boy.
Or you can do the emulator trick where...
Sure.
Now, what you do is right before you get there, you just set your emulator onto the fastest speed, and then just start doing something for several hours. And after the clock has reset itself so many times, the system now registers it back to 0 hours.
That's ridiculous. That's so funny. Get at it. That's crazy. That's really funny. I
People
love
found
the
so many
ways.
weird things.
That's so funny. Excalibur 2. Steiner's ultimate night sword. Boy, oh boy.
Not that there's any reason for a weapon that strong in this game.
No.
There's that.
Neat.
The level 1 Final Fantasy IX challenge was a thing, where they beat the game with a cast of level 1 characters.
That's insanity too. Why would you do such a senseless thing?
Weirdly enough, apparently Ozma was not the hardest thing in that game as a level 1 fight.
I can imagine.
Here's the thing with Ozma, since we didn't talk about the super boss.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He's actually not that hard, technically. There's only one real problem with him, and that is the damage from Doomsday is random.
Ew, yuck.
Like, you can deal with all of his other stuff easy. Like, if all of your characters have dark absorbing or resistant armor of some type, most of Ozma's stuff is barely an issue. It's, do you die when he drops that attack or not? That is the entirety thing that determines that fight. It is one of the most horribly balanced super boss fights, and I'm generally not a fan of super bosses to begin with.
Same. I have no patience for the super boss, and you know what? May the Lord bless you if you are because that takes a special. I don't even know where you find Ozma.
You gotta finish all the Chocobo hot and cold stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but no, the real problem with the level 1 challenge is Necron, because there's absolutely no way you can just guard up against all of his status effects because you're too low level to get all the buffs.
You can't get all the buffs. Exactly.
Grand Cross just wrecks you.
So you just luck, I guess. Lucking into a win.
Or spamming max damage attacks.
Or doing that, yeah, you can do that as well.
Before you get hit with Grand Cross.
Before you're getting hit with Grand Cross, yeah.
I think that pretty much wraps up Final Fantasy IX.
I think so, man. Thanks so much for having me, man. This was a lot of fun reminiscing about Final Fantasy IX.
A game you played 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, you know what? Hey, listen, this is a game that it was one of those when I played it, I was like, wow, I wish I had played this as a kid because I would have absolutely adored this. And it was fun playing it even just as an adult. It was so refreshing to go back into the Final Fantasy world and to experience the type of game that I grew up with, and thematically and stylistically and for all the reasons. And it was good just beyond nostalgia. It wasn't just the nostalgia of well-worn ideas. It was a new story that had a lot of heart, excellent characters, great writing, all the hallmarks that I've always looked for in Final Fantasy. So I love any opportunity to talk about it is a fun one. So thanks for having me.
And as mentioned, you can check out his stuff over at Gamer Looks at 40. I'll get, as soon as I remember to grab all of your links again, I'll make sure to put all of that in the description.
The show notes. Yeah, no, that sounds good, man. Thank you so much for the plugs. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And it's been a pleasure having you. And I'll see you all next time on the Tribunal.
Dun dun dun.